If you are 6 feet tall and stand on the baseline, you can only see your opponent's baseline through the net. Therefore, the ball must travel up, over the net, and then down the court. The semi-western forehand not only can be used for exaggerated topspin, but also has the power of the eastern grip. Both eastern and semi-western grips place the wrist behind the racket to give both strength and control. It also enables the racket face to be vertical at impact over a variety of heights. An advantage of the semi-western forehand grip is that not only can it be hit at a high impact position, but it can also be hit with power. Thus, as the game of tennis is being played on clay courts, as well as a variety of synthetic hard court surfaces, the bounce of the ball is generally waist high or above. If the opponent changes the trajectory by hitting it higher over the net and with topspin, then the bounce will be at least chest height. The trend in world tennis has moved in this direction, so a move to the semi-western forehand can not only produce the high bounce for the opponent to cope with, but also can be used to counter this type of play. The pad of the right hand is placed on the flat, vertical right side level of the racket, and the index finger is extended along the grip. Be sure that the knuckle of the index finger can be seen when the racket is held vertically in front. The grip produces two important features: a laying back of the wrist and a closing of the racket face on both the backswing and forward swing. The semi-western technique involves rotating the forearm and racket about the elbow. Generally, as the ball is hit by the opponent, the pivot is followed by a lifting of the elbow and turning of the shoulders in synchrony. To aid the backswing and shoulder turn, the left hand can be used to push the racket back. There are two ways to take the racket back, and many more in between. From the ready position, pivot. The elbow moves backwards whilst the shoulders turn and the racket is lifted in a loop. From the ready position, pivot. The elbow moves backwards whilst the shoulders turn and the racket drops below the waist before lifting to the final backswing position. In all cases, the racket head should be in a position higher than the elbow prior to the racket moving in the forward swing. The forward swing has many important features. On the downward swing, the knees which have been flexed begin to extend, which raises the hitting shoulder, thus assisting the low to high swing pattern. The elbow is kept close to the body for stroke stability in the early stages of the forward swing. The elbow is extended in the early forward swing so that the swing is flattened out. The right hip lifts and turns, which lifts the hitting shoulder. The trajectory of the racket head in the forward swing path is from low to high. Just prior to impact, the racket trajectory increases and then follows that path. The wrist is laid back on impact because of the grip. The racket head is vertical to the ground on impact. The head is absolutely still and the eyes are focused on the hitting area. The feet are usually placed in an open stance. The left foot is 45 to 50 degrees to the left and in front of the right foot. The racket face will remain closed through the forward swing until the impact position. Because of the grip. The extension of the knees, together with the turning of the right hip, ensures that weight is transferred along the racket head trajectory of the swing prior to and after impact. Players align the racket to the approaching ball, in the same way as with an Eastern unit forehand, then increase the upward path prior to impact. The racket head may be slightly below the wrist on impact. The forward swing is upwards from under the ball to the hitting position and continues up and out through the ball. To check the follow-through going out and through the ball, the arm between the elbow and the shoulder should be parallel to the ground. There is great individuality in the final stages of the follow-through. However, to prevent injury, the right foot usually swivels around and ends up level with the left foot. An interesting feature of the follow-through action, which assures that the racket head velocity is at a maximum at impact and as well reduces injury, is to lift the elbow to shoulder height after impact as the trunk rotates. If done correctly, the racket face which hits the ball will be facing up the court in the direction the ball has been hit.
Van Lendl lifts his elbow and takes the racket below his waist before lifting the racket head above his elbow. The continuous motion appears to show considerable wrist movement at the top of the swing. Note also how close his elbow is to his body on the forward swing. Boris Becker moves his elbow backwards and then rotates his forearm at 180 degrees up and around his elbow. Such a movement of the racket head gives tremendous power. Watch the use of his left hand on the take-back of the racket. Becker also has very good hip rotation. Steffi Graf's technique is similar to Becker. She moves her elbow backwards and rotates her forearm over and around her elbow. Graf brings her elbow close to her body on the forward swing. Steffi also has a large step towards the ball. Thomas Muster takes his racket back in between Lendl and Becker. Muster's grip is very Western and his stance therefore open. His open stance and upper body rotation leads to a unique follow-through. Gabriella Sabatini has a classical take-back. Note the small lift take-back, the racket head way above the elbow, the use of the left arm and the open stance. Her grip is Western, thus giving more topspin. A view from behind Boris Becker allows us to see the initial elbow movement, the high position of the racket head in relation to his elbow, and the use of the left arm. It's interesting to watch the flight trajectory of the ball that Boris hits.